Let's talk today about overhead camera mounting systems. So you want to get that top-down shot. So there's various products on Amazon that help you mount your camera such that the orientation is above and you get a nice flat shot of the bottom. This might be for products or some type of creative shot, but it all serves the same purpose. And I'm going to tell you my experiences with 3 different types of overhead mounts and which one works best for me. All right, this is kind of the cheapest option, and you'll see a lot of these on Amazon. I call this a single arm pole mount. So it's a circular tube, and then it clamps onto your desk, and then it'll have an arm that connects to there, and then you obviously mount your camera here. So I had a lot of problems with this one. This is probably my least favorite. It's appealing because it's cheaper, because there's less material, and it only fits on one side of your desk. The problem is these arms, they don't go very far. So this thing, if you're filming and you're just not doing, you're doing more than one angle than the top down, you'll probably see this in the frame most likely. Another thing is that it only supports so much weight. So if I put this on here and I crank the hell out of it, like as much as I possibly can, you'll see that it'll bend very easily. So even like a lighter DSLR, or a mirrorless camera, maybe like a Sony A7 III or something, will deflect that, and you'll see that bend, and it'll always not be exactly level. I mean, you can adjust it, but it's not super rigid because of course it's only one arm. There's a fair amount of leverage, and if you were to make this longer, obviously the leverage would increase and you get more deflection. Another problem is that even though this pole can telescope to different heights, this clamp only fits on one section of the tube. So this bottom part is too thick, and this top part that extends is too narrow. So this clamp that comes with it won't actually work on those parts. And this is the only clamp that goes with these extension tubes. So even if you have your own claw system, you can mount it here, but you won't get that lateral, which is the whole point of the overhead system. So this one I almost never used. I would say this is okay if you're not going to be shooting in the same frame as the pole, so you're only doing one angle, and that's the overhead angle, and the setup you're using is like a phone or like a GoPro, and there shouldn't be a problem. Second time I ever used was what I call these rigid fixed portable frames. This is a square tube, as you can obviously tell, and it's freestanding, so it has its own legs here, and it comes with this kind of camera mount. This is okay in that if you just want to do overhead, it's very easy to take around with you, but it doesn't come apart. So this frame is always very big, so you can't really store it. And as you can see, if you're in a wide angle shot, it's gonna be in the frame. And sometimes even from the overhead, if you're very wide, you can kind of see the legs a little bit. It only has so much width. It's not super adjustable, but it's super convenient in that you can just pick it up and move it to whatever desk that you need. There's some other issues with the detents, and I'll go over that right now. So the problem with the square frame is that you can't use claw mounts and mount anywhere onto the frame. It has these specific detents that you have to use to move the camera mount around, and those are only spaced every 2 inches, so the flexibility is a little bit low. On the height adjustment, there's also specific detents, and they're only spaced an inch apart, which is better, but still might be an issue with flexibility depending on where you need to place the camera. So this is the most recent setup I have, and I got this as a solution to the problem with the portable square mount tube setup. So that one would always be in frame, and I'm trying to shoot, this angle and then top down at the same time sometimes, so I don't have to do half top down and then half frontal view in different shoots, and then set up and tear down for each of those. So this is the solution. So this is kind of a modular tube setup. You can customize the height of the 2 columns, the 2 arms, and then the length or the width of the pole that runs across. And that's done with these tubes here. You can get as many as you want. They come, a certain amount with a single kit, but you can buy extra. And then the top column and then the sides are actually the same. So you just put as many as you want, top and across. And with the how it mounts, it uses like a clamps, circular clamps, so you can put it all along the column. There's no specified spacing detents, and the top bar doesn't have to be the exact length. You can kind of see here it sticks out a little bit, so you can make it whatever length you want. Some, like the newer, they have to clamp exactly where the columns are, so you don't have as much flexibility. Your desk has to be a certain width, whereas this can accompany any width to some extent. It can't be super wide. And because it has two arms, and these are solid aluminum, you can see there's no bending, even with a heavy setup. So this is like a Nikon Z9 up here with an external monitor with a battery. And there's not zero flex, but there's very little flex in the setup. So this works really well for me. The con is that you can't easily tear this down and bring it somewhere else. It's basically a permanent fixture of my studio setup. And moving this up and down is not easy. I mean, you can do it, but it's not like there's a lot of friction with the tube clamps, so you can't just easily move it up and down. You would have to like really struggle to press it up and down while it shakes the rest of the setup. Also, because this is a tube setup and not a square frame, as long as you have clamp mounts of whatever type, like I have here a one from RAM mounts that I use on my motorcycle that I no longer have, and you can use that to clamp it, or you can get one specifically for camera stuff, and it has tripod screws. You can basically clamp anything you want to it. This is like a hair clip thing for a little LED light. It's very flexible, and of course, since it's a tube, you can clamp it anywhere along the tube. There's no specified places you have to mount it. So for me, this modular tube setup is the best with the dual columns. This is probably perfectly fine for most people if you're not going to do multiple angles and you're using a light setup. And the square tube portable structure obviously works best if you have a heavier camera and you need to move the setup around. But always a con with that one is that it's kind of a hard thing to store since it's so big and rigid. It just doesn't collapse down easily to any amount of space unless you take it fully apart, and then you're probably going to lose different pieces of hardware. So if you want to check out the ones that I have, I put non-affiliate links down in the description. You can find them on Amazon readily. One warning about this modular tube setup is that it's not easy to buy just additional tubes, or they're marked up very heavily. So my suggestion is to buy one full set and see if that fixes your needs. This is a 55-inch desk, and this is pretty tall above me, maybe 1 to 2.5 feet above the desk. So one kit should fit most people's needs. But if you need another one, I would suggest you just buy 2 whole kits. It's not really that much more, and it's a lot easier to source than trying to contact a manufacturer and buy separate tubes. And poof, the setup is gone, just like magic. This is Tech Addict. I hope you enjoyed this video or found it useful or informative, and I'm signing off again.